Some adjectives would be empowering is a big one for me. Fun.
It's hard to boil down big picture into just individual words.
I would say integrity, responsibility, difficulty.
Multi-dimensional.
Difficult, fun.
Comfortable, exciting, passionate. Difficult, but worth it.
Basically, Big Picture is an alternative school inside of South Burlington High School that instead of learning through conventional classes, you learn through projects and internships based around your interests.
There's a lot more room to decide how you want to pursue your learning and getting school credit for projects that go outside of things like tests or homework. This can include things like creative projects that you do, community service work that you take on, volunteer work.
The main focus of Big Picture is not necessarily just to try and get you to learn the things the high school would ordinarily give you. The whole point of Big Picture is to try and have you learn more applicable skills and experiences out in the real world.
So as someone like myself, we're interested in film, we get internships at local television stations as a way to still get that information that you learn in conventional school, but in a way that personally fits the way you like to learn.
You build these really great relationships with your mentors and your fellow classmates because learning is a complex thing, and unfortunately we have really distilled it and compartmentalized learning in ways that aren't realistic to the way that the brain works and how people experience life and grow. So Big Picture is a more holistic version of school education and incorporates a lot of different elements that make, I think, learning more effective for certain kinds of people.
So you're with the same 22 people in one room all day, every day. And so you get really close and it does become a whole second family.
One of the original reasons why I went to Big Picture was because I wanted to focus on my musical abilities, because I had definitely portrayed an interest in music when I was younger, and my goal was to write and record music at a young age. I was responsible for making sure that I was learning each step of the process in terms of getting to where I am today. As it stands right now, I've actually done live sound at a venue for a couple of years, and I've produced and recorded 5 full-length albums for local bands, and they've sold it, so that on a technical standpoint would make me a professional. But all of those skills were things that I harvested on my own time through Big Picture. That's where really kind of everything started.
Big Picture was pretty fundamental to who I am, and it's pretty fundamental to my entire life. It changed me completely in every feasible way. Without Big Picture, I probably wouldn't have gone to college, and I probably would not be making any films. I wouldn't have made any. I have no idea where I'd been, but Big Picture is what led me to doing that at an early age. I got a head start on filmmaking because of Big Picture, and I feel that's helped me succeed in college so far.
Right now I work for musicians doing video production, shooting concerts, shooting videos, and I do all that all to Big Picture. They're the reasons that I had the skills to get myself in that position, but not just the skills, but the confidence to reach out to these people that I'm working for. I could still get all the video experience I have, but if Big Picture didn't give me the determination to do cold calls and handle rejection, just be able to be myself and lead myself, without that, I wouldn't be here.
I did a lot of extracurricular work when I was in the mainstream school system. And I was doing a lot of personal, film projects, for example. I was doing a lot of advocacy work, but none of it was being considered for school credit, even though there were really amazing learning experiences. So I felt empowered when Big Picture came to me and said, how do you want to utilize this opportunity and these events as a way to synthesize your learning and your mental growth.
Through Big Picture, I was able to make short films. I was able to make my very first short film about a guy going through the 5 stages of grief in the woods, but the second film I made was a film about a girl who was going through suicidal depression. And with that project, I ended up in the South Burlington Town paper, and I ended up doing this event for the school. And the film, at least for a year, was being shown at the Howard Center for employees. They showed that film to educate people on mental illness, and that's insane that happened, and Big Picture led to that. It had to be one of the best experiences of my entire life. The entire process of making that video and the aftermath of the video, the recognition I got for it, was outstanding and insane and just beyond my comprehension.
Big Picture helped me become a capable adult and helped me get to where I am now because of the amount of freedom and responsibility that I had for my own learning right off the bat. If I didn't have the experience of like planning my own schedule and my own projects and communicating, for internships and stuff, I don't think I would, be able to be as successful in college as I am now. So I'm really grateful for the life experience that Big Picture gave me.
I learned a lot about how to find my own internship, how to be professional in the workplace, how to organize my time accordingly so that I can be successful. When some kids were struggling to live alone for the first time or to choose their classes without the classes being handed to them, I had already done that before, and so that was really easy for me. It also, I think one of the biggest things I learned from Big Picture was to take advantage of every opportunity that you can.
Overall, my experience with Big Picture has made me a happier person, I believe, because I know what I want to do, and also during my time in Big Picture, I got to explore so many new things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was in conventional school, such as I'm presented at the Yes conference, and I also had an interview with the Precious Plastics Project that ended up being on TV, which is something that's absolutely crazy, and I never thought I would have done, especially if I was in conventional school. But after Big Picture, I feel like I'm much more capable to take on the world.
I offered to work on a farm for a little while, and oddly enough, it was not immediately my first choice, but working on a farm actually taught me some pretty important life things about myself because I had never worked on one before. There's something to be said when you're faced in a position where you kind of have to do something that you aren't really familiar with, but you know that you have to do it. You tend to learn how to think on your feet pretty quickly.
Through Big Picture, I had the time to work on a film project that to this day it's been about 2 years almost since I left the program, 3 years since I made the film. I was just invited to another film festival to have it screened, and I wouldn't have had the time or the energy or the tools to make that film in this mainstream school system because that space wasn't carved out for me.
I have a huge problem with a normal school curriculum where they never talk about mental illness. They need to educate people on mental illness so they know how to understand what's going on within themselves and with other people. Being educated on mental illness is very important, and schools don't really do that right now. But Big Picture allowed conversations like that to take place. We did these things called Socratics, where we talked about world issues that are going on, and we had a lot of really healthy, thoughtful debates about a lot of things and world issues, and it taught me a lot about animal rights because we did a whole section of the semester about animal rights, and it taught me so much about that I never would have known. Big Picture taught me more than any other year of normal school did.
You're in high school, it's hard to just sit and listen and not do anything for 8 hours a day and then go home and have to do a ton of homework of stuff that just doesn't interest you. So I think the way Big Picture does it, where you're still getting the same information, but you're creating the way that you learn it, and you are working around your interests and you're getting real world experience, is definitely just a much better way to teach students of that age?
It really depends on what you want to do with your life after big picture. For example, through traditional school, you have access to a lot of curriculum that is immediately available to you through means of the traditional style. So for example, English language arts, mathematics, science, physics, etc. If you were to try and pursue a career field in where you'd want to do one of those things with your life, I would say traditional school might be a better option simply because that the curriculum itself is more immediately available to you.
I don't think it's for everybody, just because you are pretty radically independent and you have the expectation to figure things out yourself. And you have mentors that help guide you, but at the end of the day, you are making some pretty big decisions and you are structuring your learning, which some people may struggle with. I think at its core, the concept that learning is complex, that education is layered and expansive and goes beyond what's the right answer, is this the right equation, you got this grade. I think in that sense, understanding how human beings learn and can explore and how they can be passionate about their learning, I think big picture is much better in that way. And I think traditional school systems could be improved by taking some of those philosophies.
And I definitely think high schoolers should have more freedom to decide what they want to study, more reign over, what they want to learn and what they want to focus on.
Thank you to Lundy and Jim Shields, Kevin Downey, and everybody else who I've worked with in Big Picture, because without them, I definitely wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now and loving it as much as I am.
I don't know if this happens with anyone else, but the hardest part for me with Big Picture easily was leaving it, being done with it. It was a family for me. It was my rock. It was a place where I could go for support. It was a place that I could go to express myself creatively. It was a place that I could go to just talk with people and be validated by other people. And suddenly losing that after graduation was really hard for me. People often tell you that friends go away after high school. Your high school friends are not going to stay your friends for long after graduation. And I didn't believe that. I was like, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen with me, but it happened. No matter what, I couldn't change what other people did. I still lost people after high school. I think Big Picture really taught me that kindness is so important, because the people at Big Picture are essentially the nicest people I've ever met. I've never had people be so nice to me, ever. I was in a place before Big Picture where I was just really aimless in my life and I didn't really have anything. I didn't have passions, I didn't have a drive, and Big Picture gave me all of those things and gave me people, gave me friends. I've still never quite recovered from leaving Big Picture, and it's been about 1.5 years, and one of the big lessons that I've taken away of the last 1.5 years is that you really need to remind yourself that you are a worthy person, that is worthy of praise, that is worthy to do something in their own life. You can't constantly rely on other people for it like I did for a long time. I think everyone in Big Picture taught me some valuable things. Every single member of Big Picture taught me something, and I will be forever grateful to the staff, to South Burlington High School for having this program within it, for everyone in Big Picture. I will be forever grateful to everything that that program offered because it was so fundamental to me.